Welcome to Xbox Corner, my name is Alex. Today we're going to be taking a look at Phantom Abyss on the Series X, and this one, it's currently in game preview, but I think it's a bit of a gem, so let's just talk about all of the reasons why I think you should be playing this one, while giving you a bit of background on the game itself. So with that luck, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, Game Pass breakdowns and graphical comparisons weekly, and let's get started. Phantom Abyss then, it's a massive asynchronous multiplayer game that has us traversing procedurally generated temples, all in the hopes of retrieving a relic after a random number of tombs. Asynchronous, for those that may not know, it means while you can see other players running around on the map, they are not playing at the same time, rather they have attempted this run and died before you, hence they are phantoms. Once a relic is retrieved, the idea is that temple is closed for good. It's a seriously unique premise, and while I'm sure it's been done before, I can't say I've seen it myself, and I'm sure that will be the case for many of you as well. Phantom Abyss is a first-person parkour adventure game, and controls they're relatively simple. We have sprinting automatically, we can duck, we can slide, we can roll out of larger jumps. Then we also have a trusty whip to aid us through this world. That whip is initially pretty limited with its range, but progression, it will unlock more possibilities, such as a further strike distance, or even perks. Think it generates extra coins from chests scattered around this world. These perks, though, they often also come with a curse as well. I think water now harms you, or you can lose coins as you do progress. It's really going to be, is the positive worth the impact of the negative? The whip's predominant function, though, or at least initially it is, it allows us to whip and pull ourselves towards walls or those areas out of reach, and you need to get good at this quick because it's quickly going to dial up the complexity of the rooms, and it's absolutely necessary. The coins that you're collecting as well, these will actually be used for what are temporary stat boosts. Some of my favourites this far have been sliding off of ledges, and it actually gives you the ability to fly temporarily. Also, there is a double jump, which is absolutely incredible, by far my favourites. These, though, they only stay in place for that particular run, so do maximise them, especially initially. Make sure you experiment, get a feel for their use, because in future runs they may pop up again, and you'll need to know what's going to be most beneficial for you. Outside of that, though, in the world, there's also items we can use to our advantage, or at least this far, a few of them. Think fans that blow you into the air, giving you a boost on your jump, or the fact if you slide down a staircase, you actually gain a speed. You may even find gems that light up particularly dark paths. Just don't let it go out. So as I've mentioned, death is frequent, very much part of the game in this world. Even early on, it has more than a few things that want to kill you. Think blocks that smash down, spikes that raise from the floor, pits with spikes at the bottom, or even spikes on the ceiling that fans can blow you into. There's arrows that are firing from the walls, and more than a few just, I guess, general endless pits. I actually found the most troublesome was spinning blades, and then these floating exploding barrels. Well, it turns out, and I didn't expect this, there's often enemies as well in here, and they come in the form of what are guardians. These guardians, they gain in power with each room that you do head through. Now, the longest temple I've seen this far was 4 rooms, and by this point I've seen 2 different guardians. They were particularly overpowered, though, by the time you get to one of these longer temples. One that flies towards you, though, you'll need to dodge them because they're going to fly through walls. They catch up with you extremely quickly. And then I had another that fired gas canisters at sorts, and yeah, with each step they actually gained more firing ability. When I first saw them, honestly, I wasn't all that intimidated. Now I'm constantly checking where they are because, again, it's surprising just how quickly you can find yourself in trouble. The phantoms are perhaps the most unique element for me of the gameplay. As you load into each temple, it will advise you of how many phantoms are present in this world. The higher the number, the more deaths encountered here, the more intimidating it appears. That said, though, do not let it deceive you. A low number may simply suggest it's a new temple yet to be faced by the masses. The mistake I made initially, though, I often followed them, and this would lead to a swift death. While ghosts can often feel like a sense of direction in a game, and that is absolutely the case here, do at least remember that these phantoms, they all face their demise at one point or another in this temple. Basically pick and choose your moments, because if you're like me, I leaped from more than a few ledges to my death playing Follow the Leader. They can also honestly be a detriment to your progress initially, because on opening a location you'll be surrounded, and for me, they often obscured what was ahead of me or just simply distracted me. It was leading me to basically instantly impact my health bar, and we're starting these runs with just 3 hearts to run the gauntlet, so it's incredibly valuable that you do your best to protect it. So yes, there is a story, but it doesn't give you a huge amount to open. Basically, the concept seems to be we find ourselves trapped in this temple following a tutorial location, and there's a guardian of sorts, a gold statue. They are chained to this world. They are to remain here, and he has drafted you and many other explorers to help him escape. We do this by claiming up relics, which in turn will break the chains. That said though, I'm also noting a character in this world that has appeared on a few occasions, sometimes to close out sections of runs, others within the hub world. She's slowly starting to add further context and also telling her own story at the same time. I wouldn't necessarily come here for the story yet, but I will at least say at this point I am definitely intrigued. So it's a good looking game. I like the overall temple look. The obstacles are often perfectly clear, though you will still need to look for them of course, and the influence from the likes of Indiana Jones, it's clear from the relics that give me almost that cartoonish edge to a world filled with a very traditional, almost think Aztec-like vibe. The Guardians are particularly impressive as they pack a ghost-like quality to them, and they're actually much larger than you may expect once you get face to face. I really like the implementation of the whip as well. Indicators they're simple to understand, and that's really essential in a game filled with split-second decisions. The only surprise for me, or at least visually, I wouldn't say it's pushing next-gen hardware. Don't get me wrong, it looks really good, it's really crisp in 4K, but it is currently Series X and S only. That may no doubt be, down to the complexity behind the setup of the experience, but hopefully that's something that changes in the future. Phantom Abyss then, a ton of potential in here and plenty to come. That said, I've still got so much to see myself. I am just a few hours in, and along the way we'll be unlocking new modes. That's going to be classic mode, an endless temple run essentially, and then a daily mode where all players can face off against it for 24 hours. Finally then, of course, these temples, they are going to get progressively more complicated and challenging. So overall, I'm having a blast. Look, sure, there's a few of the controls this far can be a little finicky, and some of the locations I'm actually noticing repetition in the design, but again, I still have so much adventuring to do, and I'm absolutely here for it. Also, do remember this, it is game preview, meaning it is still in development. Flaws are to be expected, but it's easy to see the positive in this experience, and I wish it all of the success leading up to what is a full launch. Will you be checking out Phantom Abyss though? Let me know in the comments below. With that then, like, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, Game Pass breakdowns, and graphical comparisons weekly, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.